Okay, here's my homework for chapter 4. So we have 1 and 2, 6 and 7, 11 and 15, 21, 39, 21 when we did it in class, 42 and 57, 57 when we did it in class, 61, 97, 110, 117. Now I have chapter 5, 1 and 9, 11 and 14, 18, 23, 27, and 59. And I'm going to explain 18. So in the problem, we're given the velocity of the car whenever it is turning on a dry road, which is 21 meters per second. And then we're also given that the coefficient of the wet road is 1/3 of that of the dry road. So we know that F equals mv squared over r. So we also know that F is equal to the coefficient of static friction times the weight. So we're going to set those equal to each other right here. So you're going to set it up for the dry road. Here we have our free body diagram, normal force, weight, frictional force, and then we have the acceleration right here. So for the dry road, we have v squared over r is equal to the coefficient of static friction of the dry road times g, which we know that v is 21 meters per second because that's given in the problem. So we're going to plug that in. So 21 meters per second squared over r equals the coefficient of static friction of the dry road times g. So we're going to do the same thing for the wet road. So we have the velocity of the wet road squared, which that's what we're looking for. We don't know that right now. Divided by r is equal to 1/3 of the coefficient of static friction of the dry road that was given to us in the problem times g. So now we flip this around. So we did the coefficient of static friction of the dry road divided by 3. To cancel that out, we're going to multiply the whole problem by 3 right here. So then we end up with the coefficient of static friction of the dry road equals 3 times the velocity of the wet road squared divided by r. So we're going to set these equal to each other right here for the coefficient of static friction of the dry road. So you have 21 meters per second squared over r is equal to 3 times the velocity of the wet road squared divided by r. So our r's cancel out. We're left with 21 meters per second squared equals 3 times the velocity of the wet road squared. We're going to divide by 3 and move that to this side. So we get 21 meters per second squared divided by 3 is equal to the velocity of the wet road squared. So 21 meters per second squared is equal to 441 divided by 3 is 147. So we still have the squared over here, so we're going to take the square root of that. So we get that the velocity of the wet road is equal to 12.12 meters per second.